What's going on, traders? Yes, I made it to at the close. I know. Where is Spencer Israel? I'm missing him also. And I got some bad news, guys. We're also going to probably be out without Joel today in the at the close, but that doesn't mean that we won't get to at the close. Of course, we're going to cover the stocks, what moved, what was hot. I'll take you guys through it. We can talk about it today. And also, if you guys got a mover or maybe a stock you guys want to mention, throw it up in the comments. I'll definitely see it and cover it. Today's going to be a little bit more about you guys out there. So if you guys want to take a look at a stock or maybe a certain area, today's the day. Throw it up in the chat. Let's get it started. At the close, missing Spencer and Joel? What's going on?
All right, it is time for pre-market prep at the close.
Three consecutive highs, opened, matched yesterday's low, and then once it took out there, that's all the breakout momentum traders needed.
All right, traders, I'm going to need you guys to get us through this. So I need the help, right? I need some help out there, guys. If you guys got a big mover or a stock that you guys want to cover on today's show, definitely throw it on up. Let me go ahead and bring my volume up a little bit here. I hope you guys can hear me well. Let's get into it. Let's dial down this and see what we're seeing on out there. Let me actually adjust my mic a little bit here. I feel like the noise gate's a little bit too high here. There you go. That should be a little bit better there. That should help out. And let's get it going here. Let's take a look at the overall market and what stocks moved today. Let's take a look at the SPY. SPY actually coming on down here, breaking on down, kind of what I was looking at. I was looking to see if we were going to hold above 416. Couldn't hold above 416. Then we just started chopping right back down here. Now we're down there towards 411. If you take a look here, some of the bigger names not doing the worst today. I mean, if we take a look here at high capitalization names, you got Apple just slightly into the green. Microsoft was down about 0.81. You got Google in the green and Amazon in the green. We'll talk a little bit about Amazon with their stock split. Tesla ending into the green, also Google, also Facebook into the green. So it wasn't the worst day for the bigger cap names, but definitely we saw some leakage on out there in the SPY. As you guys can see, there was definitely some leakage coming into here. And what was really getting dragged? What was getting dragged was real estate, healthcare, and consumer cyclical. In real estate, we definitely took a hit there in REITs, residential, and we've been seeing some of these really struggle as we kind of continue to kind of see these like Invitation Homes pulling on back here. As it's, these rode up for a while now. The REITs have really started to turn around. If you take a look at real estate really started coming down here in early May and now has bounced a little bit, but it's still looking like a little bit of a bear bounce here and could keep coming on down. Definitely smash the like. Let's go ahead. Let's get into it. Richard Bourne, it's good to see you guys in the chat. Easy Mike, always BNZMB. Let's go, guys. Let's get it going. Wayne Hunt. I love that last name. I love the Hunt. Got to go always after the Hunt, man. All right, let's go ahead. We'll keep on going. Sorry about no Joel today. He had to take care of something, and I told him, hey, Joel, I'm not going to let down the at the close audience. I'll be there for you guys to cover some stocks. All right, let's go ahead and let's take a look at what happened today. Some of these stocks that we were looking at this morning. So let's go first. Let's get into the solar names, right? Let's take a look at technology. How did solar perform today, and why did it move? Well, it moved a lot based on this morning. We got news of what? Of course, the tariffs. The tariffs, solar 24-month exemption on solar modules manufactured in Cambodia, Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam. And you guys saw the lift today in solar names. But let's see how they did actually after the bell. ENPH, not a bad day there, going on up there towards a high of 214. But really after the bell, we kind of went sideways on ENPH. Let's take a look at some of the other names. SEDG, sideways action towards the bell, but was strong towards the bell, right? And so same thing happened in First Solar. I think these kind of pulled back a little bit, but doesn't mean that these are not opportunities. And we were talking about that this morning, right? I think it was Dennis Dick that said, just be careful. These have run a significant amount, could take a pullback. But I pointed out, and my focus is that in the long run, this should be a positive for the industry. So just take a look at these. You could see a pullback. and then eventually it coming on down there. Definitely sorry about that, getting a little bit of a call action there. You guys hear it. This guy Powell doesn't stop calling me, but we'll see what happens here. Let's pay attention to these, if these can come back roaring. If you take a look at the hourly chart, this wasn't a bad pullback. I'll take a look at a stock like Run tomorrow to see if it can finally catch Run after a little bit of a pullback. And then we'll see if these can really start getting a next leg up. JKS was one that I was interested to watch because I thought this one could make a move here, and it held the hourly pullback to 64.50s, eventually getting through the 65, up there to 67s, and closing near the high of the pricing range. So take a look at this one on an hourly. It looks really nice, and it is setting on up here for a nice little bullish move on up. We'll see if it can get back through here, get through the 68s, and start pushing to 69, and that's Jinko Solar. All right, we'll take a look at some other solar stocks really quickly. I just want to run through these charts, see if any of them held kind of the gains. Array closing really well here, going towards the kind of the high of the day, towards 1373, trying to get into this kind of range up here where you get into the 14s. That's not a bad one, at least the last little kind of approach here, approaching 330s. Doesn't look too bad there in Array. Max End is another one that had a good day. FTCI, this one closing up well too. It had a major run in pre-market, but also closing up near the highs. Keep your eyes on these as we're starting to watch to see if solar can keep moving. All right, what's going on out there, guys? How we doing in the chat? Looks like we got Jay, the blind trader, born to be free. What are you guys taking a look at? We'll see what happens. SPY not dropping lower than 411. I don't know about all that. We'll see what happens there. Definitely a struggling market today. And one of the things to note is that the treasuries were going towards a high there. And last time we had these kind of bond sell-offs, we also had stock sell-offs. Today, we didn't necessarily get too much of a sell-off. So that's one thing to note and keep in mind. Of course, CPI data is coming out on Friday. That's something definitely to keep on watch. I don't know if you guys have this on your radar, but if you don't, definitely going to keep on watch. We're going to watch to see if the forecast actually meets. Of course, what I'm going to be watching for is the core inflation to start ticking on down. And one of the things that we always measure with inflation is month to month, right? And so we want to see this start ticking on down as the annual pace is set to keep holding that 8.3. Let's see if we get somewhere around away from that 8.3, hopefully below that 8.3 reading, going closer towards that 8. We'll see what happens there. And if core inflation is seen slowing down. All right, let's go ahead. Let's take a look here, and we can get out of the solar names. Let's get into some of the Chinese names, right? Let's talk about what happened there in the Chinese stocks. Today, it was all about Didi, but Didi didn't do much here towards the open. Of course, this is all after kind of the Wall Street Journal reported that Chinese regulators would let them add new users again as early as this week. Chinese regulators are wrapping up their investigation in the ride-hailing giant Didi. And really, this is all a signal to see if the country's crackdown on its tech sector may be coming to an end. And that's what a lot of investors were watching today. Was this a crackdown coming to an end? And were they going to get that lift in the other Chinese names? We were watching Baba at the open, JD at the open. They made small little runs, and I was able to capture a good gain on JD, but it didn't continue making moves. I'm fully out of this, so I can talk about the positions, but we'll see what happens there. It was trying to make that lift on up, and JD couldn't do it. And for that being mentioned, I wanted to keep an eye out on a stock like NIO that was also going through the struggles of right now with the lockdowns that are going on. And this one was going up, but actually ending the day sideways. We'll watch tomorrow to see if these Chinese names start getting moving. Stock Crypto Man, there's your NIO. I tried to cover it like always. We'll keep on watch these Chinese stocks. Didi didn't really do much, and it just pulled back. So we'll see if these can kind of get moving. I'll keep on watch tomorrow to see if these can start moving on up. PDD had a good day today. Pushed right out the gates, but then also gave it back. Let's see if we get that next lift up tomorrow, and we can see these Chinese names continue. All right, guys, if there's anything that in the chat that you guys want to talk about, of course, throw it up in the chat. I will catch it in there. I'm going to keep on rolling through our kind of catalyst for the day today. Of course, Apple. Let's get into Apple. I'm sure a lot of people want to talk about Apple. It did trade down on the day. I mean, you're now just slightly into the green, slightly into the red. You popped up in pre-market, but you gave up all those gains that were in the pre-market. It's all the way back down towards unchanged on the day. A little bit up here, about 10 cents, you could call it. But let's talk a little bit about what came out of that WWDC. If you guys don't know what the WWDC is, it's the Worldwide Developers Conference. You guys could have catched it on YouTube. They had Apple stream, so you guys could check it on out. And what was announced? So there was a new iPhone software called iOS 16. There's a new Mac Airbook that has the M2 chip and a new 13-inch MacBook Pro that also has that M2 chip. So really bringing in kind of their most powerful chips even into the MacBook Pro. The new Mac software, Mac OS Ventura being released, new iPad software, iPad OS 16, and Apple Pay Later and Apple Buy Now, Pay Later service being released, and this having an effect on Affirm stock. Affirm actually getting hit hard on this. So you guys are seeing here Apple really crushing Affirm kind of in their own business. You guys see Apple here trying to get on up there. Couldn't really get on up on the day, but hey, buy now, pay later with Apple. You don't got to go through Affirm. Now you can just do it with Apple, and definitely just stepping into their game, right? And just stealing it right under their feet. And this was what the worry was on Affirm if someone else would step on in. Like Happy Muhammad says, definitely hit the like button, guys, if you guys are enjoying the content. And if you guys got a stock that moved today and want to talk about it, throw it up in the chat and we'll definitely talk about it. Apple had a lot going on today. And yeah, there was a lot of headlines, but the stock didn't necessarily show that and reflect that. So one thing that I would be watching is the last hour of the day, right? And so the last hour of the day, a lot of the times you'll get some of these bigger buyers to step on up. If you look from 3 p.m., we've really started to now push on up. We're up about 0.36, really starting to push towards the close here. I think a lot of that having to do with what? They're watching the headlines, letting the stock leak down, and now they're going to try to scoop it back up. We'll see what happens if this can actually lead into a run into tomorrow. But it was a sideways day for Apple today, even with great announcements. Apple, can we charge people for breathing? Pretty much. If Apple can do it, they'll probably do it, Debbie. It's just how it is, man. At the end of the day, it's what I said about Apple to begin with. Once they got the certain brand recognition, everyone just buys it because it's Apple. Literally, I've seen people buy things just because it's Apple. And I think this is eventually will go away. But for right now, they still have the consumer just caught. And when that consumer just gets caught, they can literally come out with anything they want, I think, right now. And you end up buying it. So, hey. That's just how it is with Apple right now. And I hope it's not always everybody, but hey, that's just how it goes with Apple. I mean, you remember when they first came out with AirPods, people were like, no. And now everyone, I go to the gym, everyone's wearing AirPods or at least wireless in their ears. So that's just how it goes. And one thing they do is they definitely push the limits early. They were talking a little bit about their goggles. Not much was released on that. It was morely intended towards, like we talked about it in pre-market, towards their platform and their app release. They had some cool apps that were being released and some cool features that are bringing towards a new iOS, but I don't think it's something crazy. And AirTags. I actually heard something about AirTags that I didn't know. I didn't know that AirTags are being used by criminals right now to kind of steal your stuff. That wasn't the intention of the invention, but who knows? We'll see how those AirTags are doing. Be careful with those AirTags. You see them on your car, rip them off, man. They're trying to steal your car. We'll see what happens on out there. Apple TV app offers live sports and scores and highlights. Yeah. This is where they're trying to push into. I don't know if they're going to be able to get kind of complete deals, but they do have the Friday baseball thing right now, and that's free. So eventually they want to make it so that you have to get that Apple Plus, but we'll see what happens. Apple TV. If you guys got it in the chat, let me know. All right, let's go ahead. Let's transition out of Apple. Let's go to Amazon here after their 20-1 split here. And the stock did move up here right out the gates, but eventually just moved sideways. Didn't do much here. So we'll see what happens there, if these can kind of catch a bid or not. What stocks did you guys catch today? What did you guys have any big winners? Throw it up in the chat. I don't see any big winners. Let's do it. All right, let's take a look here. Seeing somebody mention Warner Brothers. I mean, yeah, this has been ugly, man. I can't believe this is all the way down there towards 17. But hey, it just goes to show you just got to be careful what you're picking in this environment. All right, let's go ahead. Let's keep it going. There were some ratings this morning. There was Crowdstrike. We could take a look at Crowdstrike. Crowdstrike actually traded up today, so not a bad day there off of the earnings rating. And that was and I'll go ahead and I'll give it to you guys here. That was a Morgan Stanley upgrade of Crowdstrike holdings to overweight and rise of the price target to 215. So not a bad day there for Crowd, getting up there towards 170. It's kind of like a red to green move. Went down towards the support, caught the support, then really started taking off. This is why I like using the 1 hour move often, looking for that 1 hour pullback, and then looking for the extension right back up. So I'll keep these on watch, and we'll see if these can kind of keep moving. But CrowdStrike, not a bad day after the rating upgrade there from Morgan Stanley. Let's get into Raymond James' upgrade of Spotify. So let's take a look at the Spotify. Spotify actually coming down on today. They did upgrade it to outperform and announced a 150 price target. As you can see today, guys, going back down there towards 110. I'm not so sure about Spotify, but I'll tell you one thing. I actually have a Spotify account right now, and I'm actually paying for it. So, hey, who knows? Maybe you start seeing this to come back. But one of the things that you're going to slowly see is consumers trying to cut some bills, right? First, they tried to cut some of the smaller ones, like these streaming services. Then they'll go and cut something bigger, more vital. So right now, I think that Spotify could see some subscriber numbers potentially take a hit. So we'll see what happens on their earnings report, on their next earnings report, to see if they can keep the subscribers growing. All right, we'll see what happens on Spotify. Let's keep going. There was one more rating that I wanted to talk about, which was Lululemon. Let's talk a little bit about that. Bernstein upgrades Lululemon Athletica to market perform and announced a 300 price target. So 300 price target is right where it's at. So, I mean, I don't think they were too brave on that one. But if this one cracks back down to support, yeah, they're going to be looking like they're off a little bit. So let's see if this can really get back through the 313. You could see it struggled today when it got to 312.09. So that's the level that I'd be looking for on the upside to see this start coming on back. But apparel stores have been a hit or miss. And so that's one thing that I definitely put out there is be careful, because we just don't know where this is heading. All right, guys, let's keep it going here. What are you guys taking a look at? I'm going to start taking stocks from the chat. Throw it on up there. We got about 12 minutes left. I'll cover about one more stock here, but definitely want to go ahead and get to stocks from the chat. Today, we did trade Hood on live trading. That wasn't a bad trade, but definitely turned around here. We caught it for a little bit of a pop. We were looking for that extension through the 975. It eventually got up there all the way through 980s, turning around right there at the 980s. I held it into that kind of 950 area, 960 area. It didn't want to keep going, but there was mentions of potentially kind of a suitor for Robinhood. We've talked a lot about that on pre-market prep. We'll keep on watch to see if Hood finally actually gets kind of a actual target, or someone mentions a price, so that we can see if Hood starts moving. That's why it didn't seem too bad to take a shot on it. But hey, can't blame you. Looks like Brian Blockchain did better than I and sold at the 66 level. So hey, not a bad move there, Brian. We'll see what happens there. Let's go ahead. Let's take stocks from the chat and see what you guys checked out today. All right, so it looks like Matt X. I don't know this one, so let's take a look here. Matt X. You talk about Matson. This is a shipping port. All right, so let's take a look at the shipping. How did that do today? All right, so one thing that we can always do is take a look at the industry outlook to see what we're getting here and how did it perform today, right? I like to always look at some of the leaders like UPS, RTX, in this space. UNP, these are leaders in the industrial. But let's look into the certain industry here. So Matt X, we're looking at shipping. Let's go into shipping imports. Let's look at the leaders of shipping imports, which are Zim and KEX. So those kind of struggling, but Matt X coming back a little bit there towards the 95. I'd be keeping on watch to see if you can get out of this zone here, because if you're able to get out and stay above this, you're not looking too bad above the 90. But if you crack back below the 90s, that's where I'd say watch out on the downside. Right now, it's good for a sideways day after a really strong day that went up towards 95.25. You got your inside day, and if anything, you got your 50% retracement, and I can draw it right there. You see how it closes right by that 50% retracement down here towards 90. What do we got here? 93.45 here. That's where it opened. That's where you want to see it kind of get back above here. So you see the 50 retracement. It goes to 61.8, right back up through that 50 and starts holding it. Now you want to see that 50% retracement hold. So that's near the 93 mark. As long as it can keep holding there, it's looking bullish right now. We'll see what Matt X continues to do. CVX puts 3 times. Man. All right. So you're looking at some puts on Chevron. All right, we'll see if this can kind of continue breaking down here. It did turn around from that 180, so you definitely see that 180, but I'd look to see if it breaks 174 now and really starts cracking here and turning around. You can see the 9 EMA slightly below it, right? Slightly below it. Let's start seeing if this EMA can get on top of it if you're trying to short it. That will give you that confidence that you can continue seeing some downside action. What tools are you using for charting and these lists? Well, this is TC2000. I use TC2000 for my charting. And of course, I use Benzinga Pro to get my news catalyst. Looks like I'm getting a call from, I would forget to do that. I forgot to put up the link there. I think we're going to get a special surprise here. So it looks like I should get Joel joining up in here. So I didn't think he would get up in here. So we might be able to sneak in Joel for the last couple of minutes. If he hops in, I'm going to let him take control. But let's keep going, guys. Let's take a look at some of these stocks. What else we got on out there? T being mentioned by Richard. Oh, I'll leave that one for Joel if he hops in. Let me take a look at lots. All right, lots coming up out of that 58-cent zone, but we'll see what happens. Looks like I got someone out of the woodworks. I'm excited because I probably needed a little bit of help. And how we doing, Joel?
What's up, Money Mitch, man? I heard you. You were doing pretty good there, buddy. How you doing?
I'm rolling through the stocks and trying to cover everything for everyone.
I know. You're trying to make everyone happy. Don't you know that's too hard to do?
Yeah, my mom always told me that I tried to make everyone too happy, but hey, that's all I know, and all I know is to give back. So let's keep on giving. Let's take a look at some of these stocks. Someone wanted to take a look at T. And I'm like, T? That means you wanted to take a look. That's a Joel stock.
That's an old Joel boring stock that I bought it for the dividend, and they cut the dividend, but I just kept on buying it. It's a conservative play. Oh man, I mean,
share your charts because they don't want to see my ugly charts anymore.
Well, I saw someone said they wanted me to switch to the dark side. So look at it, can't even make people happy here. Let me do the share here. Man, it's going nowhere fast. I would just say just real short term. Let's look at the parallels at 2080. You're at 2094. So hold it a little bit. I really don't see any patterns in there. Does anybody know when this goes ex-dividend again? I don't have my ex-dividend calendar, but the thing with the thing with Verizon is you want to keep an eye on it, a couple weeks, going into that dividend, because there are people that will just play this puppy for the dividend, and they'll start positioning in and even though it's not 9%, still 5 or 6%, they'll just kind of roll into it. So I don't know when I think it went in April. So if it's starting to come into dividend again time, I think you'll see people nibbling at it. And then you got to watch out the day that it goes ex dividend. What they do is they accumulate the stock, they get paid overnight, and then they try and wiggle out of the stock at the mark. Because even if if it's a 30-cent dividend and it drops 22 cents, you're taking the dividend in. So that's what it is. It's a dividend play. I know Triple D will do that in small sizes. And it's July 13th. So we got some time. We got some time on that one. But that's a look at AT&T. Probably a longer look at AT&T than you'll get on any other financial network.
All right. And just to mention there, Verizon's date is July 7th. So that's their next X.
We're popping here. Do we got some buy balances there, Mitch?
Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the buy and balance.
Yeah, this is a nothing day. It's an inside day if you include the Globex parameters, right? Because we had that goofy high at 41.89 and a quarter, and then we tanked for whatever various reasons. But I'm not surprised to see this kind of market activity because we're waiting on that CPI data, right, Mitch? Is that everyone is waiting on that? Yep.
I mean, that's going to determine really the change, right? We need to get some positive catalyst into this market. It feels like everything we've been getting is negative, negative, negative. And just a change in that CPI data, just the slightest
just a little tick. I mean, we're not asking
the right
for
direction,
much.
Right? Yeah, into the right direction. That could get stocks moving again, right?
It could be a rip. It could be one of those where it just rips your face off and you're like, oh, I could have bought this thing all day at 4,100 and 41.20, 41 and a quarter. But, also you don't mind days like this because, it sets up. I bet you got a lot of inside days in stocks, right, Mitch? You've been looking at any inside days?
I did call out some inside days. That's what we were calling out. And I was even calling out some 50% retracements on those. So definitely going to keep an eye on it. Even today's a strange day, though, because the bonds sold off. If you looked at the TLT, you can see those sold off. But the market didn't react like it was reacting when the last couple of times that this happened, the market, the equities also just tanked with it. So this is interesting, starting to see that separation there.
A little bit. I noticed this this sell off here was started at 11:02, 11:03, and I didn't get a chance to yell at you to figure out a reason for that. And I just think, and I talked to some other people, and that the bond yield went up, 3%. Oh, head for the hills. So I think that's what instigated this little midday. That's a pretty good decline there when you came off the high. I think also, I mean, wasn't there a Russian Ukraine jet battle or something? So I mean that war is still going on. We still got plenty to worry about. Yeah,
there's so much, right? There's so much out there that we don't even kind of talk even about the Russian-Ukraine situation because there's so much focus on just here with inflation and the Fed, and it's just like there's three big catalysts pointing towards the downside, and we're just looking for any of these to kind of show some room of hope, right? Some room of hope in any of those three, whether it be the Fed showing some, okay, we're not going to be raising rates so fast, whether it be inflation showing some topping action, or hopefully some good news coming out of the Russian-Ukraine situation. I think everybody's eyes out looking for a good catalyst, but just hasn't come just yet.
You know what I think the market wants to hear? Oh, we're thinking of going a quarter in September. That's what they want to hear. They want to hear, oh, we're going to do a half. And then, I mean, I don't think that's going to happen, but I think that's what the market is waiting to hear. And I know we got a couple minutes here. I just want to talk about two stocks here. We talked about this morning. Amazon got the burst. And what I was looking at was like these quad tops here, right at 126, and they got quite a bit beyond it. They got the 128.99. Historically, these stocks will run up into the split, and historically they kind of trend lower. So now that we almost started to get into the gap But let's jot down this closing price today, wherever it may be, 125, let's say it is. And that will be our bogey moving forward. And then your pre-market prep stock of the day, Twitter. I think we did okay on this one. Triple D said, hey, Musk is just going for a lower price. I mean, that's it, right? He's posturing. Yep. I looked at this and I was just looking at the 50% of the retracement of the move, and that came in at like 38 and a quarter. Now, it did go a little bit lower than that. It did go in the pre-market, but not in the regular session. Not in the regular session at all. They basically came in here and bought the dip in Twitter. So I just wanted to review those two stocks for you guys. We're at the close here. We are closed. We got what do you got coming up next, Mitch?
All right, coming on next, guys. That's probably going to do it for our content today. Normally, I have 4:30 Money Mitch, but I'm going to go ahead and we're going to be rebranding Money Mitch, probably bringing it down into the middle of the day as I look to build a bigger show and try to get more guests on.
I got a new name
that we're doing. What's going on? What's my new name?
I got a new name for you. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's strap myself in here.
Moving Mitch.
Moving, baby. Hey, anything with an M. Mondays, money. Hey, money making Mitch, man.
Market in the
moving making Mitch.
Yeah,
I'm moving, baby. Yeah, Joe's making fun of me because I'm moving again, guys. I don't know what it is. I guess I just like to give money away, but hey, that's just how it goes sometimes. Just like in the market. You don't want to be that guy giving away the money.
Okay. I just thought of that one. All right. So that's good. That's a wrap. Looks like we're going off the board. 41.18, 41.19. I'll call it, it's a good day because it's in the green. I'll say it's not such a good day because we gave back a lot of the early morning gains, but just going back to the S&P here, consolidation station, baby. That's what you got. You got the inside day. You have your fourth high or low. I mean, it's trying. We need a catalyst. We'll see. We'll see if we can get something before the CPI is on Friday, right?
Yeah, CPI is on Friday. Definitely going to be a close watch on that all week long. Another thing to watch, I think, is Apple. A lot of release today. I don't know if you caught that all, Joel. A lot of products talks, a lot of talks, but it was really weak. Closed not too bad there. I did see some volume coming in there, not too bad. I want to see if Apple gets above 150 tomorrow. That's what I'm going to call 150. If we can see them get above that 150, I'll be feeling good. And if Apple breaks back down towards the 140s, that's when I'll be watching for a little bit of a washout. We'll see what happens there. Of course, we'll talk all about this on Pre-Market Prep tomorrow, the best morning show out there. You guys come and join us tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern. Like always, I'll see you next time, Joe.
Good night now.
Good night, guys. We'll see you next time on At the Close.